Hello and welcome to BBC News this hour. I'm Kevin Otieno. A rapist and murderer who escaped a South African prison by faking his own death has been arrested in Tanzania. Thabo Bester was at large for a year after it was thought he died by setting himself on fire in his prison cell. A manhunt was launched last month after a new postmortem investigation revealed the body was not actually his. Bester was caught on Friday with his girlfriend and a third suspect and will be extradited to South Africa. Police said they believe the trio were intending to flee into neighboring Kenya. Bester is known as the Facebook rapist for using the social networking site to lure his victims. He was convicted in 2012 for the rape and murder of his model girlfriend Nomfundo Tihulu. A year later, he was found guilty of raping and robbing two other women. In May, it was reported that he had been found dead in his cell after apparently setting himself on fire at the Mangong Correctional Center in the city of Bloemfontein. However, local media began to raise doubts about Bester's death late last year. In March, police opened a new murder investigation after further tests revealed the deceased was not Bester and that the unidentified person had died from blunt force trauma to the head. Employees of the British-owned security company G4S, which ran the prison where he was held, have been accused of helping him flee. It has said 3 employees were dismissed in connection with the incident. Earlier this week, representatives for the organization failed to attend a meeting in Parliament about Bester's escape. The BBC has approached G4S for comment. There have been many reported sightings of Bester over the past year, including claims he was grocery shopping in an affluent suburb of Johannesburg and was living in a rented mansion there. Bester's escape sparked outrage in South Africa, which has one of the highest rates of sexual assault in the world. A Saudi Arabian delegation is in Yemen's capital Sana'a for talks with the Houthi rebel movement aimed at reaching a new and potentially permanent ceasefire. A mediation team from Oman is also in Sana'a. The capital has been controlled by the Houthis since they drove the Yemeni government out in 2015. Soon after, war erupted between the Houthis and a Saudi-led coalition supporting the government. It has continued ever since, leaving tens of thousands of Yemenis dead and some 80% of the population relying on aid. No official confirmation has been made by the Saudi side yet, but Houthi outlets say that both the Saudi and Omani delegations are in Sana'a. A leaked photo appears to show the Houthi leader Mohammed Ali al-Houthi shaking the hand of a Saudi official whose face is obscured. This has been greeted as another significant sign of the willingness of both sides to finally reach a deal that could end the war. No named officials have commented, but there have been reports from various sources that an agreement could be signed before the end of the month. Again, the terms of such a deal have not been made public. To China now, where China has simulated precision strikes against key targets on Taiwan and its surrounding waters during a second day of military drills. The drills, which Beijing has called a stern warning to the self-governing island, are a response to Taiwan's president visiting the U.S. last week. As the Chinese military simulated an encirclement of the island, the U.S. urged China to show restraint. Taiwan said at least 71 Chinese jets flew around the island on Saturday. Taiwan also said 45 warplanes either crossed the Taiwan Strait Median Line, the unofficial dividing line between Taiwanese and Chinese territory, or flew into the southwestern part of the Taiwan's air defense identification zone. 9 Chinese ships were also spotted. The operation, dubbed Joint Sword by Beijing, will continue until Monday. Taiwanese officials have been enraged by the operation. On Saturday, defense officials in Taipei accused Beijing of using President Chi's U.S. visit as an excuse to conduct military exercises, which has seriously undermined peace, stability, and security in the region, as they said. You're listening to the latest BBC News with me, Kevin Otieno. The last surviving prosecutor from the post-World War II Nuremberg trials has died at aged 103. Ben Ferencz was just 27 when he secured the convictions of 22 Nazi officers for war crimes and crimes against humanity. He later advocated for the establishment of an international court to prosecute war crimes, a goal realized in 2002. Ferencz died peacefully in his sleep on Friday evening at an assisted living facility in Boynton Beach, Florida, USA. Confirming his death, the U.S. Holocaust Museum said the world had lost a leader in the quest for justice for victims of genocide. Israel struck multiple military targets in Syria after rockets were fired into territory it controls overnight, the Israeli military has said. Israeli artillery and drones were used to hit a Syrian army compound and rocket launchers after 6 rockets were fired from Syria at the Golan Heights. Officials said 3 rockets had entered Israeli territory. 2 hit open ground and a third was intercepted. On Facebook, the Syrian Defense Ministry confirmed the Israeli attacks. Syrian defense officials claimed that air defenses had responded to the strikes and successfully intercepted some of the missiles. It added that no casualties had been reported, with only material damage caused by the strikes. Meanwhile, Syrian state media reported explosions near the capital Damascus. Earlier, air raid sirens had sounded in the Golan Heights after rockets were fired from Syrian territory, but no casualties or damage were reported. Lebanese media reported that the Al-Quds Brigade, an armed wing of the Iranian-backed Palestinian Islamic Jihad movement, had claimed to be behind the attacks. And that's the latest from your homeboy TruGuts. If you like, you can say Kevin Otieno.